Hey everyone, welcome to the first ever podcast under our Nerd Out Productions title. This is our first of many videos, but from here on out, all of our videos, all of our pods, everything will be on this YouTube channel. The podcast will still be available in all of the normal spots. We're just doing both now, so that's exciting. Now the quickest way to get to our Discord is to actually go to our YouTube, like and subscribe any video you would like, just because it helps us out. And then our Discord is actually linked in all of the descriptions. So that's the quickest way to get to it. You can interact with us and we can have a good time. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. That way you can keep up with everything nerdy. So for the first time, you are seeing most of the Legion. So we have Michael.
Hello, hello. Very happy to be here.
Jordan.
Yo.
Leroy.
Hello.
And sadly, Brother Cade couldn't make it this time. We actually will have another Legionnaire with us, but that's here coming up. So she was unavailable tonight. So
A she? Women are allowed to have a voice in such matters?
I need a female voice
What's
on
the
this.
world coming to?
It's a sausage fest on Boom looking for this.
I think it'll help us all.
I think it will as well.
Good deal.
Just a brief catch up where Thor and all of his friends are at. So the last time and you guys feel free to jump in if I miss anything or anything like that. But the last we saw Thor was Avengers Endgame, and he was still Fat Thor. And after the Avengers defeated Thanos, Thor went back to New Asgard and handed the kingdom over to Valkyrie, naming her the first Asgardian king of New Asgard, which is on Earth, because Hela destroyed regular Asgard during Ragnarok.
She hella destroyed it, too.
She did hella destroy it.
Right.
And then with no ruling responsibilities left, Thor trekked off into the stars with our least responsible crew, the old Guardians of the Galaxy. And you'll see here in the trailer we actually get to see them, so that's pretty exciting.
And he's in charge.
And he, yeah,
Right?
oh yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, we all know he's in charge.
Of course.
Right.
Sure.
Of course.
Of course. Of course.
Sure. Loki, I don't know if we'll see him, but I figured I should bring him up. Loki in our universe is dead, but the last we saw of a Loki was in his self-named series when he was in the TVA and Kang was first introduced as Kang the Conqueror, essentially. It was never said, but it was, nudged at.
Strongly implied.
It's very strongly implied.
I mean, we've had that confirmed outside of the films, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. I believe the first film we'll be getting King the Conqueror full-fledged is the next Ant-Man film.
Quantumania.
Quantumania.
Yeah.
That cast T-shirt.
Very
leak,
exciting.
baby.
Yeah. And then Jane is the second to last one I want to mention. She was last only mentioned between the interaction with the fan and Thor when talking about the breakup. And saying, I'm sorry Jane broke up with you. And he goes, no, she didn't dump me. I dumped her. It was a mutual dumping.
Right.
When was that again?
but-
Remind me, which film?
So that would have been at the beginning of Ragnarok when they were looking for Odin at the retirement home.
Okay. And
They're like on
even
the
though she
street
wasn't
corner in New York.
right, even though she wasn't directly mentioned in Endgame, it was shown and confirmed that she was snapped.
Yep.
She was on the board,
so
and
she was a victim
Thor
of the old
noticed that.
snapperoonie.
Right.
so
And then the last group I want to mention, last person, so Thor's buddies, the Warriors 3, all of them died except for one, which is the girl. I forget her name.
Sif.
Lady
Lady
Sif.
Sif.
Lady
Lady
Sif.
Sif.
Lady Sif.
Lady Sif is
Yep.
alive, and so there's a chance that we might see her. And I have a theory that we won't see her in a good way, but there's a good chance that we get to see Sif. But that's pretty much the sum up of where, kind of what you need to know before we go into the movie, just so that way
Do we
when you see
know-
Thor with the Guardians, you're like, whoa.
Do we
Yeah.
know how long it's been since we saw them last, that this movie's going to take place now?
I don't. So I assume the very beginning, because in the trailer, we'll get to it here soon, and we can actually all watch it together as a community, which is going to be great. But in the trailer, we actually do see Fat Thor for a second, so it can't be too far after. I'm assuming the full events will like fast forward, but we at least initially pick up shortly after, I would assume.
Sure. Yeah, there'll be some time jumping, I'm sure. And I would also probably add, just since we know the Guardians are going to be with Thor for at least the initial portion of this, that they are still without Gamora, because it's the 2014 Gamora that doesn't know Peter Quill and the rest of the Guardians that is out there in the universe, because our universe Gamora died in Endgame. So,
and from what I've seen, this movie is going to feed directly into the next Guardians movie.
Guardians 3, yeah.
I also saw that, because James Gunn and Takai... Nope. I saw James Gunn and Takai sat down, and like while Takai was writing this, he was just like, okay, what are the Guardians doing next? Because I don't want to step on any shoes. There's already enough plot holes in the MCU. I just don't want to be part of it. So
and there's the whole goat joke too, right? Have you heard about that? I don't know the names because they're ridiculous, but the two goats in the movie, he put in the movie specifically to hand off to James Gunn, like it's kind of a joke, like, here, make these goats work for your movie. So obviously they'll have some fairly substantial role to play.
Right. Some kind of goat role. Sure.
Yeah.
Which is a nice homage to original Thor Norse mythology. Yeah.
For
sure, because he flies around on a goat, or using goats.
It's like a chariot pulled by two goats.
Right. I'm getting everything set up here.
Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder, I think, are their names.
Something like
it
that.
depends.
It sounds right.
I think an Asgardian goat would probably have some pretty solid horsepower.
Fun
fact.
Wow.
Some goat power, you might say.
Fun fact, a horse actually has 2 horsepower.
I knew something like that. Like, horses have actually way more horsepower than just 1 horsepower. It's weird.
Huh. That ain't right. That's messed up.
The more you know.
I know.
Okay. If you guys are ready, I don't.
Is this
let's
trailer
just
2? Trailer 2.
Yes, it's the most recent one to where we actually get some gore footage.
We only got a teaser and a trailer for this, right?
Correct.
It's been pretty limited, which I think is kind of neat.
I think there's been some recent promotional stuff, but I have actually not watched it.
TV spots,
purposely kind of I've kind of stayed away.
With what happened with Multiverse of Madness and it like getting absolutely screwed for me, I'm very thankful that they just did, a teaser, which was like 30 seconds, and then just this one trailer. And New Rockstars did like a spoiler-free thing, and they're like, if you've seen the trailers, don't feel like you're going into it like Multiverse of Madness, because you've literally seen nothing. Like,
that's fantastic.
Good.
So it gave me a ton of hope. So without further ado, let's we'll watch this, and then when we can maybe scrub it or whatever. But
love it.
Show me, Daddy. So we got the tree from Lion King there. And the blue people. Fat Thor is no longer fat. And boy, Christian,
dude, he looks so good.
Did it for this one.
Yeah.
His old buddy Korg. Oh, and here's a training montage.
Here's the training montage, yeah.
Are we supposed to be hearing
Black
audio
Berserkers,
for this?
Mary? I'm not hearing audio.
Hello, Natalie. How you doing?
So buff.
Yeah.
Missed you. Missed you lots. Had a crush on her since Phantom Menace, man. No regrets.
I love that.
That's going to be in flames by the end of the movie.
Yep.
For sure.
Can't believe they got Batman to be in this.
It bothers me.
It's
It bothers
crazy.
me they kept his nose.
Dude.
He shouldn't have a nose. I understand he looks like Voldemort without the nose, but he shouldn't have the nose.
He probably should have looked like Voldemort, to be fair.
I would like
Yeah.
that. There's the goats.
There's the goats.
Rainbow boat goat. Here we go.
Splitting broken Mjolnir into chunks. Beautiful.
I mean,
Amazing.
Can there be any argument that this is the biggest movie she's ever been in, at least budget-wise?
I don't know what
Perhaps.
Revenge of the Sith's budget was, but
I mean, and she was in that,
True.
but she was such a. I'm with you there. It's just such a minor role. I mean, she's very starring in this. I mean,
right,
it's a big freaking deal.
definitely.
Do you think she'll have cancer like in there's the flick. There's the flick. There's the butt. Do you think we'll actually see the butt? Surely.
Yes.
we'll
Probably
see
see the butt.
100%.
We will
Takai has already
see the butt.
confirmed that you get to see Thor in all of his glory. So
Yeah.
All
Full
the things.
Hemsworth booty.
All the things. to
Like
confirm.
Fantastic.
Nice.
We're gonna have seen all of this movie in under 24 hours.
yeah.
Very exciting.
Wow.
So yeah. You guys have any like moments in that trailer you want to talk about? One
thing
there's
I
a
was
couple
gonna
I
bring up
want to get
since-
into here, but
Yeah,
Pull it up
I was just going to
myself.
bring up, since I initially kind of referred to it already, is when Jane and Thor are talking about how long it's been, and Jane's like, "What's it been? Like 3-4 years?" And he's like, "Actually, 8 years." Blah blah blah.
He knows exactly.
Initially, it seems like
Yeah.
right. Initially, it seems like that's because she doesn't care much, but when you realize that she was snapped, so for her it was actually about 3 years.
right.
It's a little harsh, less harsh for Thor. So, just an interesting note. I'm curious to see how they play that out, and if they do go the route of Jane having cancer or some other disease like that, if they tie it into either the snap or when the Aether was in her from Dark World, and if there's some sort of like Infinity Stone radiation going on.
For sure, for sure.
Sure.
And Mjolnir might be her her saving grace
You think they're going
live
to play
through
the
that.
game with her on this that they've been doing with all the other Marvel superheroes and having them be replaced, passing the baton, all that? I mean, we've got a new Captain America, we've got a new Hawkeye, we're getting all the new versions of these heroes, and clearly that's what we're seeing in the movie. I just wonder if that's where it's going to land.
I
don't
don't
know.
think so. So
I don't think so either. I'm not getting that vibe.
Hemsworth has come out and like vocally said like I want to do this for the remainder of my life. Like as long as Marvel will allow me to put a cape on, like I want to be Thor. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting because now obviously we have two, and I personally think we're going to see a third one in the movie. Like
Third what?
third
Third
Thor.
Thor.
I think we're going to
Third
see
Thor.
Yeah, I think we're going to
You
see
think we're
Beta
getting
Ray.
Beta Ray Bill? Oh
Yeah.
man, it's spicy.
I don't know about
Yeah.
that. That sounds
That'd be crazy.
that'd be
That'd
great.
be-
I would
I
love
would-
it,
That'd be wonderful.
It would-
I'd love Beta Ray.
and
As
it would give
Thor?
me. Oh yeah, because I
How do you
think
have three
I think they're
Thors?
gonna need. I think they're gonna need it because I mean like Gore kills planets. Like I don't think he can go at it with just him and Jane. Like
Okay.
And
He's
Valkyrie,
tied.
but
Gore is tied to the Black Knight blade from
all
Who's
black.
What's it's right? All
Or
black.
oh, you're talking about the all black is the weapon.
He's talking
Gore
about the
wields.
ebony
from
sword.
Eternals. For
Yeah.
the
The
sword at
ebony
the end of Eternals.
Different
blade.
different
Yeah.
sword.
Don't they come?
Different
Don't they come from the same entity though? More or less.
They're both like nudging symbiotic, but
Right.
yeah. I
Well-
don't
So,
know if
cousins.
we will ever get symbiotes in the MCU though. So I don't know.
Probably the closest way to equate them is they're both like negative energy weapons, but I don't think more than that. They're not really associated. All Black, at least again in the comics, that's the weapon that Gore wields, and it is the first symbiote ever created by Null. So it's kind of the thing he made that gave him the idea to make all the other symbiotes, like Venom and them. And it's extremely powerful. Now, the Ebony Blade I don't know as much about. I just know that it is a dark energy weapon, and its counterpart or sister blade is Excalibur, which is a light weapon. So,
right, because Merlin made both the Ebony Blade and Excalibur as like...
Who wields Excalibur?
King Arthur, duh.
You know, I don't know in the MCU. That's like part of the MCU.
At one point, King Arthur, you did, yeah.
Yeah, we're getting into like really deep cuts. We're seeing that with Miss Marvel. I don't know if you guys are caught up with it or not, but like,
I haven't watched today's episode.
Have you guys been to the point that you hear the? I don't want to. How far have you guys seen? Because I don't want to spoil it.
I haven't started it yet.
Okay.
Nothing.
Well, there is.
All but one. All but one.
There is a certain group of people that's mentioned in that, and like I had to do like a super deep dive to even figure out who they were. Like, so we're starting to get to that point to where like.
I'm glad you did because I'm at deep dive with everything else in Phase 4. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and with Phase 4, I'm really like. Everything is going to this point where like. Marvel is explaining like mythology and religion in like the Marvel terms, because like we have Moon Knight doing all the Egyptian stuff. We're getting the Greek gods with this. Obviously, same
the
with the Norse. Eternals does a lot of like mythology stuff, and we're getting we're getting Bast in this, who is the leader of the Wakandans in the afterlife, and also the reason Black Panther exists. So like we're getting all these explanations of why like religions and mythologies and all that exist, and it leads me to Mephisto. I don't think we're seeing him in this movie.
It always does, baby.
Always does.
He's dropping in Phase 4. It'd be perfect.
Oh man.
But points in the trailer I want to talk about.
36
first
seconds.
One, okay, you're ahead of me. I will make a note of mine. We will go back. For YouTube purposes, I can't actually have it up on our video, but if you guys want to scrub along with us, please do. We're at 36 seconds in the video. That's also everyone that is doing just the audio version. Obviously, you cannot watch the trailer with us there, but yeah, if you want to scrub along with us, if you can do it safely. Please don't scrub along with us on YouTube while you're driving.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 36 seconds is Thor in the new helmet.
Right. So there's all of these weird, whatever the freaky deaky things there are in the background here that the people are fighting.
That's something I wanted to bring up.
They're very symbiote-esque and appear to have like, I don't know if the ash and flame are coming off them. Nah, the ash and flame is just coming off the stuff that's burning.
So I feel pretty confident in saying those are going to be Gore's Black Berserkers. He summons those with his 100%. Weapon. And they're very symbiote adjacent, but technically aren't. And so my guess is that Gore is using them to attack New Asgard to try to like flush out either Thor or Valkyrie or both of them.
Because a god cannot help what they are, right? It's a very, very Obi-Wan reference there. You just try to hurt somebody, and here comes the cavalry. Quite literally in this case.
So next, do you guys have anything else in that area?
I'm
all the way up to
Thor gets the
43
new
seconds.
armor. I'm very curious where he gets it.
Yeah, same.
my thing with that is just at 27 seconds, we see Thor in one outfit trying to call out to Mjolnir, and then at 35 or 36, we see him in his different armor with a helmet on now. So there definitely seems to be either that's some trailer tomfoolery, trying to mix and match some scenes to paint a different picture than what the movie really is, or it's just some convenient cutting and storytelling purposes for the trailer. But something's weird about that.
They might be trying to like cover up battle damage, because you can clearly tell that helmet he's wearing is CGI'd. So they might be trying to cover up like battle damage or something like that. And I think they can get away with it because later in the trailer we actually see like the physical armor of that on him. But in that battle he's clearly not wearing that. So
I think
I'll
up
be
until this
interested
point,
to see.
The only thing I want to mention is I feel like we're not going to see the Guardians for very long at all in this movie. Like,
I don't
maybe
either.
for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we're going to move on past them, because in both trailers so far, it's shown them briefly at the beginning when he's in like a very specific outfit with the sleeveless leather jacket and the t-shirt.
Sexy Thor.
But then they're absent from everything else, including like the other characters that we see later on. So I feel like we're not going to see much of them at all in this.
So there's
a gird.
Yeah.
I forget where it is in the trailer, but Thor's wearing the exact same armor he's wearing at the end of Endgame when he's with the Guardians. It's the black with the red cape. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think it'll probably be after you see him like let his vest go and it hits Star-Lord in the face. I think he's gonna call Stormbreaker and put on like the black and red armor there.
Sure.
Before he gets the talking about upgraded blue stuff.
The armor at 27 seconds. He has that in New Asgard. It is red cape but it's got the fur.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I saw it in one of the trailers. I saw it today when I was at work.
Yeah, that's a good point, though. I'm quite excited about the variety of armor and costumes and stuff that several characters seem to have.
Right.
Valkyrie has some different armor and attire. Obviously, Thor has a bunch. Korg has a new getup too, which looks pretty sweet. We see him.
I want him to have
with Thor.
I want him to have a full storyline in this. Like, I hope he is like right there. I love Korg so much.
Yeah,
same.
He's incredible.
He's
like
one of my. He's going to be the. Go ahead.
He's one of my. I'm the most excited characters I am for this movie is Korg. I'm very, very excited to see him in this.
For sure.
Yeah, it looks like he might be the goat tender because he has a big. Like goat head on his belt buckle when he transforms with Thor, so that would be pretty funny to see.
That's a good Korg job,
right?
I am all the way up to 43 seconds here, and we can scrub back and forth.
Sure,
but
sure.
I wanted to make note here. If you can see the statues in the background, the closest one to Jane is the Living Tribunal. The one behind him is the Watcher, and more specifically, it's the Watcher from What If.
Okay, I see that now. I wonder where he is.
On the other side of
I think
where
that is going to be the big final set piece area. I just want to add, I think they're going to have something go on there, and then maybe some extra dimensional business going on with the whole black and white realm.
On the other side of where Uatu and the Living Tribunal are, we see the entity Death, who is Thanos' right hand in the comics during the Infinity stuff.
Yeah.
Where are you at? Were you seeing this?
It's not in this trailer; it's in another one. But I just wanted to make note.
If you go to a minute 47, you can see everything pretty clearly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is. It is this trailer.
Oh yeah, very much.
Yep.
Oh, and Death's
Lady
a lady,
Death on
right?
the left.
Yeah.
Lady Death, yeah.
And then I forget the other two on the left side, but they're very notable.
I do as well.
Isn't one Eternity? I believe the far one.
I think the far one is, yeah.
and then the other is some other ancient deity.
It'll
or
be
higher
interesting
power.
because there's obviously the one that's conveniently hidden behind Uatu. So I don't know who or what could be in that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And
Honestly,
this is the fourth cameo appearance of the Living Tribunal. Like he was in Loki, he was in Multiverse of Madness. Obviously, he's in this. I forget what the other one was, but I know it's 4.
Yeah.
And
honestly, as far as implications go from the trailer, I think that picture set piece of those statues alone is the biggest thing by far, because it's totally opening up the MCU to a level we haven't seen before.
That's what we thought every other time we've seen those figures
right.
pictured somewhere, and it's always just a weird little background cameo. Hello,
part of that is my problem.
True.
Part of that is my problem because obviously we started this because of Eternals, and like I wanted to explain like who all the Eternals were, you know, what their purpose was, and I got our entire friend group hyped because we were getting X-Men, we were getting all of this, and none of it happened. We just got the first Marvel sex scene, but
wasn't even.
Yeah, it wasn't. The other moment I see we have noted here that we have one before mine.
Yeah, look, what is this crazy asteroid thing with the Gonk droid going into black and white land?
Okay, since you mentioned,
is that Earth? Is that Earth I see through the little blacky whitey smoke portal thing there?
So
it's
definitely a planet.
It's a planet.
We'll get into it a little bit more later, but what they're doing with the black and white and gore is primo. Because we see in the fight at the end of the trailer here, where whenever they collide, so it's black and white, like their skin is even, you know, desaturated, everything. But then when they collide, like color comes back between the sword and like we see Valkyrie with the Zeus bolt. When they make contact, like this color like stream comes out of it. It's so cool. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention here at 105 to like 107 the entrance of freaking Gore there. He looks so good there because they have him like sunken faced and
very spooky.
Very spooky. And so I understand what they're doing because
kind of some snakes or something slithering back there.
Right.
Looks
Gore,
kind of symbiote-ish.
Gore in the comics looks so demonic. He looks so freaking cool for a baddie. And I understand why you couldn't do that with live action stuff just because,
right?
I don't know. You want Christian Bale to actually be comfortable, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm afraid he would have lost some of his acting flexibility had they done that. I'm not saying one way or the other would have been better, but I understand their decision, I suppose.
100%. But like just seeing him as like a pale gray dude still makes me like I think he's gonna freaking kill it. Like I think he's gonna be so good as Gore.
And specifically, I also wanted to note at a minute 14, we see him looking a lot less terrible, I guess. He still has his glowing orange eyes and his pale skin, but I'm guessing that is the moment he makes his vow on his quest, and then you see all the scars and the corruption of All Black, giving him that kind of black ichor that is oozing from his mouth and everything. I think this shows his strength.
This is the only frame we see him with color around him. Every other one, it is all black and white.
Muted and...
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, the place at a minute that Jordan had mentioned, I think might be like even a fragment of his home planet after it's been torn asunder or something that he's just floating around on, and that might be where he finds the all black blade.
I'm just trying to figure out what the box on the asteroid is. Like it looks like a Gonk droid.
It
right
really
across streams
does.
there. It just looks
It
weird.
really does.
I wonder if that's not like a little asteroid pod of the slithering black tendrils we see him in around like a minute 8. Like if that might not be like an asteroid that had hit there that has the sword within it or something that he stumbles upon. That could be interesting.
I feel like that's kind of a quote unquote ship that's like going somewhere because it's very clearly moving through some kind of into some kind of portal. I don't know.
It does look like it. Weird. Another note that I have here is 1 minute and 11 seconds. I just actually saw that Jordan made a note about it too.
Yeah.
That is actually a god that Gore kills. But that is a shot for shot out of a comic.
Yeah.
That was all over the internet when this trailer came out. It looks wonderful.
I freaking love it when the MCU does this. Like they laid on it heavy with Hawkeye, and like the entire time I was just like, oh, give me more. Give me more. Because they did it so freaking well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because obviously comics are great for what they look like, and when you put amazing stuff like that on the big screen, it just I don't know. I'm a huge fan of it. It is. I am attempting.
I believe his name is Falagar, the behemoth. That we see there.
That sounds familiar.
And in the comic panel that's directly pulled from and inspired from, Thor is talking about how this creature would wrestle black holes for fun. Like that's how he would pass his time to give a little power comparison, I suppose. Yeah.
Since we're talking about shots from comics, there's a shot where Gore has an Asgardian in chains, and he uses that Asgardian to like negotiate to get closer to Thor. And I think the Asgardian we're going to see, and the reason I brought her up in the intro, is going to be Lady Sif. I think we're going to see her back, but she's going to be, the reason why she's been gone for so long is because Gore's had her, and like, tell me where Thor is, because it's time to go down. Because I'm pretty sure. Do you guys think Gore knows that Odin is dead? Do you feel like we're only getting a Gore?
Very connected to goings on.
So I didn't know if the only reason we're just now getting Gore the God Butcher hunting gods is because he knows, like, because Odin was like the almighty, like, I'm not going to touch him.
Yeah.
So
I think why that might be is we may see the tragedies that set Gore on his conquest of god killing, maybe like very recent things that happen, and that's why he hasn't been tearing around. Like my guess, and this very well could be completely wrong, is I think we might see his planet get destroyed birthing a celestial, like we almost saw in Eternals happen to Earth. I think that is going to happen to his planet, and he's going to be the sole survivor. And then that's interesting.
I would love
set
to
him on
believe
his quest.
The Phase 4 of the MCU can deliver that level of connectivity, but I have not seen it thus far.
You're not wrong.
I think to have such a compelling villain, though, I think they are going to show a sound, decent way of why he is the way he is, I guess, and why he feels so strongly about ending all the gods. And I think it's going to be a fairly compelling and sympathetic story, which are my favorite kind of villains. So
for sure, a villain that you can actually be like, I kind of get it. I think I might do the same thing.
I get the vibe Gore's been on the warpath for a very long time, and he's just getting into our
little neck of the
woods, as it will. Yes.
Do you think we'll see him kill Nowhere, or the Celestial responsible for Nowhere?
I don't think we'll see him do it,
Possible.
but they may reference, because in the comics, it's actually Null that does that with the same weapon that Gore wields. But that's something that I just really want to see, is them connecting it back to Null, but I don't know if they have the bravery and the rights to do it with them not fully owning the symbiotes.
I was going to bring up the counterpoint of rights, because
Right.
technically Sony doesn't own Null, but Marvel doesn't own, or not Marvel, Disney is the way I should say it. Disney doesn't own symbiote. So it's like, I think it's like in a rock and a hard place of like who can actually mention it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll see. But if they do,
for sure,
if they do reference the Celestial Nowhere, which we've seen in Guardians and stuff, the floating head, I hope they do it in a way that like clears up, like, yeah, Gore didn't do this, but the weapon he wields did. Someone else was wielding it, even if it's that simple, because then that leaves the door open, I guess. But
speaking of swords and things, I did look up Excalibur just to see exactly like who wields it at different times. It was wielded by actual King Arthur, but then it was wielded by Black Knight briefly, and then it was wielded by Doctor Doom briefly when he went to the past with Iron Man at some point. He was able to summon and wield it.
I know this is off tangent a little bit. Did you guys
That's what this podcast is all about.
Did you guys hear the slip about the Doctor Doom project with Howard Stern? Am I correct?
What?
This is all news to me.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to Google it, make sure I'm not an idiot. Howard Stern, Doctor Doom.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. I did hear.
He accidentally mentioned that he's in some kind of a Doctor Doom project. I don't know what he said exactly, but he basically
I hope he's in
something's happening. So
that's kind of fun.
I saw that, and that people were talking that it likely wouldn't be him as Doom.
Right, he's just in it.
Right.
Interesting.
We did have some references in Moon Knight to Doctor Doom also.
Right.
So.
With the castle and the packages and everything.
And the donuts. Yeah.
Right. Since we are bringing up Marvel news in this little section of the pod, did you guys see, it's not MCU, I'm sorry, but did you see Andrew Garfield got confirmed for 3 more movies with Sony?
Yeah.
No. What?
Yeah.
So
he's going to be
weird, right?
He's going to be Spidey, and we will most likely get a Tom Hardy and Andrew Garfield Spidey v Venom, which I'm actually on board for.
Bizarre,
I'm pretty sure they confirmed. I don't remember what the third one is, but I think they said Amazing Spider-Man 3, an unnamed Spider-Verse project. And then I don't remember what the third one was.
Interesting.
Leave the wonderful people in charge of the Spider-Verse projects alone and let them do their thing. Because they know what the frick they're doing.
Right. Those animated... I'm so bummed the second one got delayed. I'm so bummed.
If it makes it better.
Very excited for it.
Delay it all you need to. Yeah.
Take it.
Right.
Yeah, we'll take it. Okay, so back to the Toiwa. So where is it? We see old God Butcher Boy blowing up a planet at 129. So that's scary as frick.
Too far.
But then when we see the battle that's happening in the black and white zone, I think you see Thor first at 135, and then you see them cut to Valkyrie at 137. They both still are full color, right?
So if you actually look, the right side of Thor's. I'm at 135. That frame.
Okay.
The right side of Thor is all gray. The only thing that like light is coming from or color is coming from is his lightning. So like the lightning is going over his cape. That's why it's red. It's all over his armor. That's why you can still see the blue. But like if you look at his knuckles on the right side, it's all gray. So that's what I was talking about when like if you just hit play around there, you see that fight scene more often. And like if you slow-mo where Valkyrie is and just take it frame by frame at 136,
I see it's her and Gore. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so she moves that like the lightning bolt around, and like her face starts to get more gray when she lowers it, and then it brightens back up. So like they're going to where Gore is, and they're fighting him because it's so cool.
Yeah, you can clearly see it like halfway through the second 138.
Right.
Half of Valkyrie is like super black and white, and then the sparks clashing off of their weapons are illuminating her left arm and her head.
Yeah.
What do we think that's about?
I'm trying to find it here.
I've got some ideas, but
I think I have lots of thoughts on it. I'm trying to find the frame before I bring my thoughts into words. There's a frame in here where Thor is like lit up like a freaking Christmas tree. And it's in that same fight. I just don't remember.
Should be 135.
No, it's like all rainbowy because I don't know anyway,
if that's this trailer.
It might not be. He's lit up with the Bifrost, which is obviously a rainbow of the spectrum of colors. So I think we're going to finally see, like we talked about how we want to see like a Korg storyline and we want to see a Jane storyline. And I want to see a Stormbreaker storyline because that weapon is like as up there as the All Black. So like I want to see Legendary. That thing like I want to see it do just mind-boggling MCU stuff because that weapon is unreal. And when he made it actually he made it in Infinity War, didn't he?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he's like just starting to fight the Chitauri, and he jumps in the air and just like explodes everybody. And
he's just it feels like as Thor is kind of rediscovering himself in this, it might also cause him to rediscover his attunement to Stormbreaker, because it looks like, at least the way the trailer's framing it, is he still has that part of him that's like holding on or nostalgic about Mjolnir. And I think what this film is going to try to show is his growth and development beyond that, relinquishing the mantle of Thor to Jane with Mjolnir, and him becoming like proper Stormbreaker Thor and growing his powers with that weapon for sure. And we also see him plug it into his chariot with the goats, and it gives the chariot a Bifrost.
Yes, you see the Bifrost under it.
So I'm watching the teaser now, and I noticed that.
I tend to think, because I asked the question with the whole black and white realm, what's going on there. I think that All Black and Gore are going to be these void-attuned creatures, because in the comics, again, that's kind of where Null came from. Same places like the Dark Elves and stuff like that, where they just want everything to return to the nothingness or the void.
Right.
And I think
the final shape.
Gore's going to get to a level where he's literally muted and sucked the life out of that whole area around him, and it's taking the power of Thor and Valkyrie and their respective weapons to even maintain the color and the life force in that environment, because it's so muting and choking, which is just visually stunning. I'm really excited to see that.
That's what I was going to get at, is just like we're talking about the black and white and all the colors. That's going to be so cool just to watch, just from like a film standpoint, because it's like just the different types of lighting. I'm just going to have such a freaking admiration for how they did it, because like,
Yeah,
man, it's gonna be so cool. Yeah. It does. I want to go to 125 through 126 here, quick, gents. I watched this so many freaking times. Jane flicks the hammer, and I thought, I was just like, Jane never has like ice powers. Like, what's she doing? It's parts of Mjolnir breaking off.
It's the shattered pieces of it.
It's the shattered pieces flying off.
It's re-shattering. Oh.
Yeah, and then she summons them
and then
freaking
she can
back.
summon it back. Incredible.
So,
long story short, freaking heart.
Long story short, Mjolnir got stronger by being broken. Confirmed.
Right. Essentially, it did. That's freaking crazy. Because, like, if you listen to it with sound, it for sure makes like a shattering,
it's
like,
an icy,
glass sliced ice.
Sound, yeah.
It is, and I'm just like, why is that? But yeah, it's actually Mjolnir busting apart and then absolutely decimating like 30 dudes.
Right?
Because to remind
so
everyone,
freaking cool.
The last time we saw that version of Mjolnir was broken by Hela. Thor threw it at her. She caught it and then shattered it into pieces. That was the last time we saw that one, and
right, because we saw we technically saw the same Mjolnir, just earlier in its life
from a different time.
Oh, with the time travel shenanigans,
right?
Yeah,
that old Stevie Rogers had.
Right. The visuals of, I'm assuming that'll be Mount Olympus or Olympus to some extent.
Right.
Really cool too, and it seems that there are different. I think this has been pointed out by other sources before, but there seem to be different sized individuals in the crowd that seem to be indicative of different ranking gods.
Higher and lower gods, yeah.
So, like, Zeus is larger than a lot of the other people you see there. And it's very interesting. And then, like Tice said, we see, like, the Wakandan deity that created the Black Panther. Bast, yeah.
Where do we see him?
It's a she.
I think
it is.
I think it was just a screen grab. I'm not sure if
was,
we actually
and
saw her in the trailer.
You have to watch it in a certain aspect ratio because, like, she's under the shot technically.
Oh,
like, so in the trailer we see, so she's wearing like this. I don't even know what to call it. I'm gonna call it a cowl, even though it's not. But it has like little like panther ears on top of her head, and so you just barely see like the tip of the panther ears. And then someone's just like, huh, there's supposed to be gods there, and then got like the different aspect ratio and watched it, and like they can name the actress, like it's actually someone famous. So we'll probably end up like actually getting her to like say something, or
Oh, if anyone is curious, there's kind of two shots within the same second, but if you go to 201 in the shot with Korg, Valkyrie, and Jane, you can see behind them there's a very large individual. You can see his feet, like just his feet, and
big feet,
quite big. So that's kind of interesting, and that makes me wonder, like, the deities we saw in like Moon Knight, for example, were very large compared to human size and stuff. So if we'll get almost like a tier of gods in this that show like different roles that have, like, Thor seems to be very like unsupervised or curated in what he can do. He's just does his thing, where other gods like Zeus might actually have higher responsibilities in keeping other like demigods in check and things like that. And I wonder if the Celestials will tie into that also. Like if they'll be considered greater gods, or maybe Zeus even answers to them. Who knows? That'll be cool.
That'd be
I don't know.
crazy.
Do you guys think we'll see any Celestials in this, or any?
It would be a good opportunity, but I don't think we will.
Not a chance.
Because
I feel like I've seen promotional, like really, really short trailers released, and I feel like I've seen them in it, but I'm having trouble finding it again. but I think we see them in one of these trailers.
That would be wild.
Find it, but
it would be crazy.
I hope they do, because it's a good opportunity too.
I could see maybe doing like a flashback or something, or
perhaps
something for context, but no direct involvement in the film. Zero.
So I've actually thought about the Celestials and mainly Galactus lately. I think they're going to wait to do him in the MCU until the X-Men. What is it? X-Men 97, the new one that comes out on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
The cartoon. Yeah. I think they need to introduce, like, obviously not everyone is like us, where we watched cartoons as children, everything like that. I think they need to like reintroduce like those characters before they'll do them on the big screen, because like it would hit all of us nerds really hard. Like, oh my gosh, it's freaking Galactus. But like,
and other people would be like, oh, that's a big man.
Right. Or if Fox does it, they'll make him a freaking cloud.
We don't talk about that.
Too soon? Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four?
Fox Kids.
Too soon.
Yeah. But
just don't make it green or animated.
Fun fact,
that's most of what I was wanting to point out.
Most of what I have as well, but while we're sitting here and like scrubbing back and forth, YouTube has the fun thing where it says like most replayed, most
Naked
the
Thor.
The most replayed scene is Naked Thor.
Yep.
You flipped too hard, damn it!
Freaking thirst trap Thor.
Right. That was one thing I wanted to mention. I don't want to make too many direct comparisons between Marvel and DC. But I just love how in Justice League they had Zeus in there fighting against Darkseid, and he's just this Greek physique, lightning and stuff. And then in here they have like lore accurate Zeus, where he's like the drunk old man with all the women
tubby god
around him. Right. With like, in here it looks like he's got 4 wives or ladies around him. Like, that is lore accurate Zeus.
You know that scene's going to end in an absolute bloodbath. Like,
100%.
Everybody there dies.
Lots of butchering.
I don't think Valkyrie gets a freaking Zeus bolt willingly. Like, I have a feeling Zeus's head is somewhere.
Concerned.
And
I did find the trailer though, and it looks like Thor's on the boat with the goats flying through. What's the Greek pantheon place called?
Olympus.
He's flying through Olympus, and there are 2 Celestials just standing there watching him fly by.
Like that crap.
What?
Celestials in Olympus.
Send it in the chat, and I'll pull it up, and we'll screen share it and watch that before we hop off.
Okay.
Wow. That would really make sense if that had to do with Zeus
12
answering
12
to the
seconds.
Celestials.
Right.
12 seconds. Okay, coming right up. The team trailer. Oh, frickin' look at that.
They're just standing there watching him fly by.
Just hanging out.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'll be
like 2 very clearly.
Brown.
It's not like they're like
clearly
distant in the background.
Yeah.
I wonder which 2 of those are.
Where's
That's
that guy
interesting.
going?
You know, I thought like,
dude,
they should potentially be bigger, don't you think? I know they're huge there, but like compared to that boat, and I know there's distance and stuff, but like,
that's what I'm saying. I think what this movie is really going to establish is that there is a very distinct hierarchy to these MCU gods, and these are probably like lesser Celestials.
And I think there are different levels of Celestials for sure, because we've seen these. We've seen Nowhere, or the head of Nowhere. We saw the one in Eternals coming out of the
Erishim.
Earth. And then we saw in the first Guardians movie when they talk about the Purple Stone. I can't remember which one that is. It's the flashback of a Celestial destroying a planet using that stone. And it seems different than the other ones we've seen up until that point as well. So it seems like we've definitely seen varying degrees of Celestials so far.
There's a lot of new footage in that team trailer.
That's a great point, because the Celestial that was destroying that planet with the Power Stone seems a lot closer in size to these that we're seeing here on Thor. Like they were on the planet, where we have Arishem from Eternals. Seems he's like the big daddy that, at least from that group of Celestials, is the head of them, and he's literally planet-sized. Like
right.
So that's wild. That'd be crazy if we had these Celestials that are reporting to someone like an Arishem, and they're like keeping Zeus in order, and then Zeus is supposed to keep the other gods and demigods in order, and it just goes down the line. That's
that actually does exist in Marvel, because the Living Tribunal is the cream of the crop. He's the king
top
daddy. Yeah, sure. So
and we're just gonna have Gore working his way up the ladder. Just
right.
Oh,
you guys have any final thoughts on what we want to happen? Jordan, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we kind of want to move into predictions here. Do you feel Gore is the big bad of the movie? I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think he is, and I hope that he is, because he's like way too big of a baddie to not have him be the big bad.
Right.
If that makes sense.
I think the compliment to him being the main villain, though, is that it's going to show that some of these gods aren't as great as people probably think they are, and that they've failed in ways, and so it's going to be more understandable how someone like Gore has come to be because of the failures or the lack of benevolence in some of these other deities.
Right.
But I do think the main villain will be Gore. Unfortunately, I do think he will end up dead by the end of the film, but I would love if he would be a reoccurring villain.
That was my next question.
Stuck around.
Will he be a persistent villain? And I think no.
Right.
I don't think
no, but I hope very yes. But
I don't think you can have him be a persistent villain. Like, he's so much better than everything else that's happening in the MCU right now. Like, literally the only person in the lineup I think that could realistically fight him is Thor. Like, so if you don't have Thor kill him and he shows up with Miss Marvel and the Marvels,
just put him in the quantum realm or something.
Yeah.
Save
I
him
don't
for
know.
somewhere.
I think he will be dead.
Put him in the deep freeze. But
okay,
I think.
Third question then: does he herald a higher power?
Ooh.
I
don't think directly. I don't think he is in servitude to anyone, sort of thing. But if they do go the route of showing an all-black origin, then he would kind of indirectly be a null herald. But at least in the comics, he is very much so this is my quest, this is my journey and my mission, and no one's going to stop me.
But he does have clear ties to something bigger.
The main thing I have no idea what they're going to do with is showing where all black comes from. And that will be dependent on how Gore is framed. Because I think the route they're going to do is he just stumbles upon the blade and is like, sweet, this lets me do what I want to do. And no one can stop him, sort of thing.
Right.
But
I think it's offered to him. I think it's put in his path by someone or something.
At some point, we are going to have to get to the punishment that Arishem was talking about in Eternals. So, like,
true.
It wouldn't be a bad time to mention it.
I
what
know
if he did?
What you're talking about.
We were missing one.
But for the listeners, please catch us up to speed on Arishem's
Arishem is
punishment.
Sorry, I'm getting. Goodness is making a
extra internet points.
So Arishem is the celestial that is essentially looking over Earth, is the short version of it. But at the end of Eternals, good guys win, and he leaves with a warning saying that Earth is going to be punished.
Or judged.
Judged is the very very short version of it. But That's essentially it. I don't think
that'd be
kind of
wild if we had like an underhand, like Airshim is like under the radar, throws out All Black and is like, go get him. And then maybe it gets out of control or something.
Right.
That'd be interesting.
I don't know. I don't think we'll see it in this movie, but it's just a reminder that like that's still a card that's very much on the like it hasn't been handled yet, and we probably won't see it for a while because they're gonna have to tie in some pretty like powerful beings.
Yeah.
Do we have? Are we going anywhere in Phase 4? Like, where are we going? I don't know.
So this whole thing, the entire thing, is going to be a build up for Secret Wars. Secret Wars, and Secret Invasion. So everything that's happening on Earth, like the small scale stuff, is Secret Invasion. Everything that's the big scale stuff, like intergalactic space travel, Secret Wars, written all over it. So,
and Secret Wars is just a culmination of the multi-dimensional battle stuff, right?
So there is an entity, I forget who actually runs the Secret Wars, but he essentially takes all of like, well, he takes all of the Earth's like best heroes and all of the Earth's best villains, throws them on a planet where there can't be casual, like, you know, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Collateral damage.
Collateral, that's the word.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There can't be collateral damage, and just who wins? Because the evil can't be evil without hostages and people to burn and banks to steal and stuff like that, and there can't be good without them being bad. So essentially, he's just running a science experiment, like who's better than the other. So,
and that also ties in a lot with the scroll and stuff too, correct?
Well, that's Secret Invasion.
So way
it?
down the line, Secret Invasion is all the scroll stuff.
Right.
Which
and
I think
they have built towards. That I do see.
Yes. That is going to be very, very, very soon.
But that's just going to be that's a TV show, right? That's slated to be a Disney Plus show.
But it would have to be a Disney Plus show just because Secret Invasion happens for so freaking long that you can't do it in a 2-hour movie. You would need 10 hours to tell a decent story with it.
I don't
they may
feel
even
like
build
Disney's
a film
their
after
big
it.
Hitters. I don't feel like Disney's putting their big hitters on Disney Plus. We've had some good stuff, but the great stuff, that's all staying in film. At least for Marvel.
Yeah.
So far.
Loki and Moon Knight are like the two counters to that.
Yeah.
They're really good. I think they're really good, but
I personally, we all know how I felt about it, but I would put Moon Knight leagues above Multiverse of Madness.
I'm with you, but I don't think the big wigs of Disney would.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, looking even at the viewership, though, I think out of all the films they've done thus far in Phase 4, I don't think anything on its own has propelled the MCU more than Loki. Like, that set up so much stuff.
Yeah, Loki was
looking
was
at looking at the viewership too, it was extremely successful also. So that might have shifted Disney's planning. Who knows?
Little bit.
Right. We'll see. But
yeah. And COVID made things weird too. I still want to go see movies. And I like both formats, but I know, especially after just finishing watching Obi-Wan, more care and attention to the visuals, at least, are certainly put into film over the television shows.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like in my soul a moviegoer. I freaking love going to seeing things in theater.
Same.
But I feel like most of the world, because of COVID, is on the other team with that. Like they found out how easy it is to get HBO Max and watch brand new movies in their house.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't agree with it at all. I think everybody should go to theaters especially with recent stuff like Top Gun. If you watch that in your living room, you're a freaking bum.
So
like you
amazing.
need to go and see it in theaters where speakers are shaking you, and
Yep.
yeah. But,
Closest you'll get to feeling those G's in real life,
right.
probably.
Right.
Yeah, I held out more hope than I should have for Multiverse of Madness, but I'm hoping that Thor shakes up the MCU a bit and starts to connect some dots, because I don't like how disconnected the MCU is right now. It's the most disconnected it's ever been.
Death predictions. Death predictions.
That was going to be my
Zeus.
Next point here.
Zeus, I don't think we're going to see him super long, which is sad because I was really excited to see Zeus and all of that.
Russell Crowe, man.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, Zeus. I don't think Thor dies. I don't think Jane dies.
Help me out here.
I don't think Valkyrie dies.
Didn't they book a Gladiator 2? They might have not booked him, but I swear Gladiator 2 was on the books.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I have no idea. I'm down, but...
Right.
Anyways.
Trying to think of who else. Valkyrie might. Same with Korg.
I think they're setting her up to be King Valkyrie too much.
Right.
I don't want to.
I'm a little worried about
Disney
Korg.
is not going to kill off a black female. They're just not.
You're
just not.
Well, and they're probably setting up her and Jane's relationship because that is a thing.
Right.
If they kill off
But
Korg,
we'll see.
I might stop watching Marvel movies altogether. I don't know.
There is going to be a death that is going to hit us all in the sternum, but I don't know who it is.
No.
I think the
hate
Big
to say
Balls
it.
move is killing off the mighty Thor.
Killing Jane? Or
I think
killing...
that's the Big Balls move. I don't...
I hate to say it out loud, so I'm going to think it out loud. I'm actually the most okay with that. Out of all of the characters, I'm the most okay with Jane Foster dying, if I'm being honest.
Oof.
Like,
if she
we
doesn't
haven't had
die,
her for so long, but
if she doesn't die,
I don't see them bringing her back.
I don't see
just to kill her.
Anybody dying, and I don't know. I mean, maybe nobody dies. Obviously, besides Gore, but I just don't.
I bet we get
Zeus.
a tearjerker death. Like someone we actually care about's gonna die.
I feel like
think
you
it's Jane.
mentioned Sif earlier. I think we're going to see her in this movie. It's a Thor movie, and I think we're going to see her. And I think if we see her,
That's
we
true.
will probably see her die, which
Right.
is sad.
I just don't
Tying
know if
up
that's
loose
impactful
ends.
enough. I don't know if it's impactful enough.
What
Yeah, I think
about
there's
Lady
impactful
Sif
to
and
Thor, for
Korg?
sure.
Yeah.
What if the paper comes?
Man, who
and
does
Korg
Thor have
finally?
left though? Wow, covers rock. Who do we
Yep.
have left though? Both of Thor's parents are dead.
Thor's
His
lost a
sister's
lot.
dead. His brother's dead. Oh man.
Dude, what if we get Loki back and then he freaking dies again?
Dies again.
No.
Don't do
No.
it. Don't do
But
it.
he'll just come back again. We've seen
I
it
could
happen
see-
like 3 or 4 times now.
I could see Loki and Thor in a quick after credit scene in this. I do not see him in the main film.
Loki
I
comes
want a
back.
moment. I want a moment where Loki walks through a doorway and Thor's like, "You son of a bitch! I'm so sick of mourning for you. You're
He's
never
a red
dead."
flag!
Loki comes back and hits Gore with the "You'll never be a god," and Gore's like, yeah, that's the point.
That's the point.
Right.
That's why I'm here." Oh,
The only final point I want to get into here is, for me personally, and I am a huge Marvel head, this has a lot riding on it. I hate to go into any movie with like that much on its shoulders, but like I've just been outside of Moon Knight. That's been like the shining star in Marvel lately, and like Miss Marvel's. I mean, it's pretty good for what it is, but it's
get
not
what you're
gripping
saying.
me.
When was the last film you went to that you left the theater when you're like, yes, I needed that?
Well,
Top Gun.
like,
Because we thought it was, we thought it was going to be Multiverse of Madness, and it.
personally, I thought it was supposed to be No Way Home as well, and both of those got absolutely tanked by freaking like pre-trailers, in my opinion. Like we all
but No Way
knew
Home
who was
really
going to show up.
Good.
It
was
good.
It was really good. But like, can you imagine? We talked about it when we got into the Multiverse of Madness thing. But can you imagine the like thing it would have done to your soul if none of that was released before the movie, and you're sitting there and you're watching Professor X roll out, and we all knew Mr. Fantastic was showing up in that film. Like, we didn't know, but all of us in the back were like, you can't really have the Illuminati without Reed Richards.
Heavy rumors, but Reed Richards was the only question mark left for me, and the rumors were heavy for sure.
Right. And then it did the same thing, as good as the movie was, with No Way Home. Like, we all knew Toby and Andrew were going to show up in it. Like, we all had our doubts, but like,
they did their damnedest to keep it.
They sure did, but like, they're like pretty big, like news sources, like, you know, didn't help them with that.
Well, if you dig for it, but I went into that film not knowing for sure, and was simply elated when we got what we got.
But like, when push comes to shove, that's like lawyer talk. Like, yeah, I didn't know for sure they were going to show up just because I hadn't seen a casting list, but like, I probably would have put at least 10 grand on it.
If I had to bet,
that's more than
it
me.
would have been
that's
for
more than me.
Yeah, that's just a general cultural comment, I guess, where with the internet and everything now, it's more work to not know things about something that hasn't been released than it is to know things about it. And
that's part of the reason we're a man short with Legion tonight, is because Cade is like done watching trailers. So I was like, I want to do a pre-Thor thing, and he goes, I don't know if I can join, because like, I don't want to like restrict what you guys can talk about.
I don't blame
but I also don't want to watch the trailers.
I'm that close to doing that too. Like, I'm tired of getting spoiled by stuff in those trailers.
If I didn't want to make a podcast that was highly successful, I would be in the same boat Kate is. Like,
I wish I cared enough about what's happening to put myself in that category. I enjoy it, I love it, but I'm not quite there.
Yeah,
it's definitely not the Infinity Saga. Like, we need to have some loose ends tied up and some dots connected for sure. I think everyone would agree on that.
You know what? They just need to give me a six episode series with Chris Evans back as Cap, where he's taking all the stones back. That's all I want.
There you go.
It can be 15 minutes an episode. I just want to see Cap back on the big screen. Like,
that'd be fun.
I miss that man so much.
Call it like A Soldier Lost in Time or something.
They give me an X-Men movie set in the early 90s. I'm on board for no trailer watching. Like, sign me up.
Right. Yeah. Any final thoughts on Thor, gents?
Can't wait for tomorrow.
Very excited.
Big balls predictions, boys. What's your big balls prediction? Mine is that Jane Foster dies.
Ooh.
Mine is probably.
Well, I was going to say
big.
Leroy, you go first.
I'll say mine is probably that we get some massive connection in, like, similar to how we had Infinity War and all of those connected. I feel like if they're going to start connecting things back to the main story, I feel like we might see that here finally. And just, that's my big balls prediction. You asked for it. If it happens, it's going to happen here, I think.
Clarify. What is connecting? Make it solid.
Like, back to King, back to what we saw in Eternals. Start connecting these separate threads we've been seeing over the last couple of years, actually and Loki, start connecting it back to this story that we've already got going.
So heavy connective tissue, something we have been utterly lacking. In phase 4. Okay. All right. I dig it.
Yeah.
Boss?
Well, mine was going to be Celestials, and then Leroy blew that out of the water with that teaser trailer.
It's kind of dumb, right? They're like, huh? Like,
little.
They probably don't
look
see
like
goats. Well,
they almost
probably see
look
a
like
lot
they
of
were
stuff,
just
actually.
checking out the broken window. Like, oh, let's go over here, Larry. Let's see what's happening. Oh, what's that guy doing over there? That's crazy.
It makes me. It makes me feel like they weren't really in charge. Just the way they were acting, like it seems like
Maybe they're the bouncers.
bystanders. Maybe.
Yeah.
Celestial bystanders.
I guess my big thing is that we see some connection with All Black into the realm of entities and creatures that we have no exposure to thus far. Something that's been here from talking even probably pre-Infinity Stones, like ancient things going back with Celestials, Null, all that sort of stuff that we start to see.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that.
I'd love that. And I think that'll tie in with the totally drawn, the Living Tribunal and things like that, that we start to see creatures that are like so far beyond what we've seen thus far that makes everything else look like child play. That would be
very
if
hot.
If we get more of the Watcher than just a statue on the wall as well.
Oh, a live action Watcher would be sick.
Dude, imagine Infinity Stone Ultron just shows up. Just
right at the end. Just like What If. Mine's Beta Ray Bill.
Oh yeah, you
Thor.
mentioned that early on.
Right.
That would
mine's for sure Beta Ray Bill. I would freak. I would lose it.
That would blow me away. That would blow me away.
oh.
Yeah.
I know we as the Legion have talked about it a lot, but for people who haven't thought of it or seen it, in Ragnarok we saw on Sakaar in the big fighting arena, they had the statues of all the like previous champions of Sakaar and stuff, and we saw what may not have been exactly Beta Ray, but it was very clearly his race. Right. If not him directly.
It was
so.
And they did it, and they gave him, so the helmet that Thor wears in Ragnarok, where he slants it up, that Beta Ray race is wearing the same helmet, which is like a tip of the cap to, hey.
Yeah.
But
very possible.
I like how
hope. All 4 predictions could all happen in the same film.
And they were all
That'd
different.
be incredible.
That's a really good point.
But again, I am tempering my expectations because I didn't do that with Multiverse of Madness.
Can't wait to be wrong. You want my big balls prediction? Nothing exciting.
What are your predictions? Put it in the comments.
Put it in the comment section.
If you guys have any predictions, put it in the comments below. Make sure that you like and subscribe.
Smash
Let
that
us know in our Discord.
Just gotta smash it.
I'm Dick Caucus.
Let us know in our Discord too.
Discord is linked in the description below. Feel free to join. It is all of our gaming, all of our Star Warsing, all of our Marveling, all of our nerding in general, and we would love, genuinely, the more the merrier. We would love to have everybody. So, like we were just joking around, but for real, if you guys would, please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. That helps us out a ton. Leave a comment. That will just help with algorithm stuff to start jacking us up, and we can, start to grow this community a little bit. So,
jack me up. Baby.
We're gonna try to get to 1,000 subscribers by December 31 of 22. So, I would like to be able to monetize our Nerd Out Productions by then.
Heck yeah.
That's pretty much all I have to say. Lots more coming. We have up next we have Thor, our post movie review. We are also throwing up a TikTok here soon. And so stay tuned. Love everybody. Thank you for listening or watching or both. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye-bye.